Good evening and welcome to a little getting creative with my new collection. Bear with me, I'm sorry, I'm just trying, there we go. Just trying to sort my computer out. Excellent. Thank you for your company. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. If someone could give me some thumbs up, that would be brilliant. And I have to say good morning, good evening, good day, wherever you are. And I hope you've all had a fabulous day. I just want to thank you all for everybody who's bought the Nature's Garden collection. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if you haven't and you would like to know the names of the stockists, then I will do that quickly now for you. So they are available from Hazel and Paul at Dragon's Papercraft. They're available from Wow Embossing Powder. They're available from Kate at the Mulberry Bush, from Maxine and Maximum Crafts, at Joe and Mark at Let's Create, at Jamie and Daphne at Craftmania, from Ben at Intercraft, from Julie and Barry at Craft Bliss, from Jane and Penny at The Art of Craft, and of course from Jeanette from J Craft in Australia. Oh God, that magnet is so strong. Okay, and I also want to let you know, I noticed that Philippa, thank you so much, she's put a link into the Pinterest boards for all the new designs as well. So if you want to get ahead and have a look at all the beautiful inspiration from the design team, then you will find them over on the Pinterest boards. And I will be live tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and I shall be looking through the rest of the design team inspiration. Got a lovely half basket of cards to share with you all. And then also on Thursday at 2 o'clock, Hazel will be live on her page, and I will put a link up. I do a separate post, because I want to share her beautiful picture that she's done. But she's going to be getting creative with it as well on Thursday at 2 o'clock. So lots of exciting things happening, lots of exciting things coming up. So let me flip the camera and I will start showing you the card that I'm going to make tonight. So bear with me. Okay, let's get a nice position and wait for my computer to catch up. I'll try and make sure that I put something down where the light is so that we can cover that up. So, excuse me. Okay, I think that's right. Let me just, I can't get my phone ready to go straight. Never mind, that looks straightish. I can't bend it's leaning over a little bit from where I'm looking at it anyway. Never mind. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining me. That's lovely. Great to have your company. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to ink blend on the solid rectangle stamp tonight. And I designed this to be used with my rectangle postage, so that fits in there beautifully. And then we can stamp on the top, maybe a different flower. And I've used some of the postage marks and the little stamps in the background, but we'll try and change it up a little bit. But I am going to work with these colours because just by using the 3 colours, we're going to have, we go from pink to orange to the golden colour to green and then to the blue as well of Salvage Patina. Hello Jeanette from Great Yarmouth. Excellent, I'm glad you made it, ladies, that's brilliant. Okay, so I have a piece of super smooth card to stamp on, and then I've made a 6x4 card blank as well out of super smooth. So let's pop these out of the way. I'm going to be using Kit Flamingo, Dried Marigold and Salvage Patina tonight. Just make sure, just wait till it catches up. I think that probably will be positioned okay. I'm just going to pop my piece of card in using my sticky mat to hold that in place. Okay, that looks good to me. Okay, so using from the solids stamp set, and I'm going to be using the large rectangle And let's try and put that over that horrible light. So I'm just going to pop this down on my card. Might as well do it like that, so I'm not taking up too much of the card. And I will pop my press down just so that I've caught the stamp on it. Then I've got blending sponges to do my inking with. So I'm picking up some Kitsch Flamingo, and I'm just going to dab this down over the top part of my stamp, and I'm going to do it until I get like a nice solid looking effect. When you first get your stamps and you take them out of the packet, the one thing that you need to do before you use your stamps is you should condition them, and you should do this with all the stamps that you get. So you're literally, with a cloth, you're just going to wipe over it, and what will happen is it turns it from being clear to looking not clear anymore. I don't know how else to describe it. It changes the look of the stamp, but you need to do that. I have done it already, but that's what you need to do before you start inking your stamps up. Because these are very solid stamps, if I was to take my ink pad to it, it doesn't hold the ink as nicely, I found, as if I put it on with my blending brushes. I will show you in a second. I'm going to have a little bit of a play this evening and just show you some different things. And so I will show you afterwards what it looks like if you actually ink onto the stamps as well. You just get a different look. You can do it and they will work, don't get me wrong, but it gives you a different effect. I'm just picking up a nice lot of ink, and I'm just doing a third each on the stamp. I'm just going to work the colour in. The more you pounce and just keep going over the top, you'll see that the ink goes from being patchy to it's covered beautifully. Now, because of my blending brush, I've got something on it, and I don't want to get that on my stamp because it will stamp out, obviously. Now, because these are just really like jelly plates, there's all sorts of things you could do to them. You don't have to just ink up and stamp down. You can actually stamp into the ink. So you could add another stamp on the top. There is so much that you can do. So really virtually anything you do on a jelly plate, you could do on this little stamp as well. Now I've blended those together, but I'm going to come back in again with some more colour in a second. But I'm just going to get this down first of all. Where did I get my stamping? My stamping platform is an original Misty, but so many people do stamping platforms, Donna. Right, now this is because you create a vacuum because of the solidness of the stamps. Now, if you look at that, you can see some speckles on it, and it doesn't look quite as solid as my actual card. So I'm just going to come back in and add a little bit more ink because it looks like I've got almost like got spots on there. Okay, so we'll do a little bit more pink. And what you can do is you can just, once you've got the ink on the pink, you can just stamp the pink part out again and then see, so we're getting better coverage now. So I will come back in again and just come across the bottom there. But the more you tap down with your ink and get that stamp covered nice and solid, look at that, it's beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to come back in with some of the marigold, dried marigold. And I'm going to blend this up into the pink a bit more. So that's going to soften that colour as well, and it's going to make it a bit more orangey. We can come up again. I'm just going to keep doing sorry, I'm reading the comments. I will read them afterwards because I can't craft and read comments. It's no good. I'm going to have to get my assistant, aren't I? So now I'm blending up with the Salvage Patina. So going over my colour, but blending it up into the dried marigold. So we'll get some of the green showing through now as well. So I will go back and read all my comments afterwards and answer anything. Oh, honestly, I just think, how can you not love that? How beautiful does that look? I think I'm going to go in one more time just with my blue. Just got a little area there that I want to get a little bit more ink on. That's it. Lovely. So I'm going to, let's just lose my magnets a minute. I'm going to fold my sticky mat back to release my card because it's very sticky at the moment. And then just look at that. So just a bit of ink blending directly on the stamp, and already it just looks fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Pop it back into my stamping platform, and I'm going to get some water, and I will spritz on. Now I could spray a little bit of water on it and stamp it out again, but I've put a bit too much water. Should have thought about that. I'll do that one in a minute, because I do want to show like spritzing it as well, because you get such a lovely effect. And you don't have to use the whole part of the stamp. Like we saw from Joe this morning, just inking around the edge, but so you've got that lovely block of colour behind, but there is much more intensity around the edge of your stamp than there is round all over. Okay, so next up I'm going to take the rectangle postage stamp from my original post. So this is Postage and More. This is the number 1 now, because we've got a number 2 as well. And I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to line up my stitching onto the colour of my inking. So you can see directly over the top, just put my solid one away, but by lining it up directly over the top, just making sure that my edges, whoops, are straight. You can see the colour through the stitching, so you'll know when you've got it in the right place. Just firm that down and lift that up, and then we can take VersaFine, ink up our postage stamp and stamp that down over the top. Again, you only need fairy fingers. This is just perfect. I just love it. How fab does that look? It's just beautiful. So I'll put it back in. I will clean off my postage stamp. And they are so easy to line up with your solid stamps. They really are. I mean, I think it's lovely to use them as they come. Like Joe had done a beautiful just square card. In fact, both Joes had done a beautiful square card, and they just look amazing just with the colours. You don't have to have the postage around it, but I just think it looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to take, I don't know to use the same ones, or shall I just use a leaf? I mean, this would be lovely for a sympathy card actually. Now if you want to overhang it a little bit, so I'm going to do it this side this time, so I can bring in a bit of my tape, and before I put my stamp on, I'm just going to mask the edge of my postage stamp, and then if I want to overhang my stamp I can, because it's going to go onto the tape. So let's ink that up. And then we can stamp this down. And we've got our lovely leaf, but our postage is still perfect. So just by having that little bit of tape, you can mask it and not affect the outside of the postage. So I'm going to do a thinking of you on this one, because this would be lovely for a sympathy card. We'll pop our words down, just clean our stamp off. There's a bit of water and my trusty cloth. Put that one back in Nature's Garden too. And I've got my thinking of you ready. Pick that up and again, just ink it up and real fairy fingers. Because it's such a little stamp and you don't want to spoil the font and everything. So again, I'm bending my sticky mat to release my card because it is just so sticky at the moment. But there, I mean, how about that? It's lovely. And so just by adding that little bit of glitter glue and some postage marks around the edge, you end up with a beautiful card. So let's just pop those, do those bits. Oops. Let me trim my postage down. Right, I'm just going to move my ink pad so I can come back up a little bit. Okay, so let's bring this up a little bit. Okay, so I know that if I line up the edge of my postage mark with the edge of my guide, I get a nice even border around the edge, and I've still got a bit of white showing, which is what I want. So the edge, got the black lines just poking out, and then I know that that's going to give me a little bit of a nice border around the edge. If you want it a bit smaller, you could always line up against the bottom of the postage, the dips, but as I've done the edge, I'm going to stick with all the same. Okay, so that's our piece to go on, and now we're just going to add a few little, let's pop that down. So I think I'll use some different stamps this time. So I absolutely love this Hessian one, and I have used it with a pen, and so it's coloured it, but it'll be absolutely fine. It's clean. I think I'm going to pull out the salvage patina in this one. So I'm going to ink my stamp up. Doesn't matter that it's stained because it's inked up beautifully. And I know that this is going to come about here. So I want a piece of my stamp there. I love this because you can have this going either way. So you can have it landscape or portrait. And we'll have another piece up there. And then let's pop that one back. I think we'll have, I'll use the solids actually, I think. So we'll have the little heart, because I do love the little heart. Now, a good thing to do when you're doing, I'm going to use the little dots as well. When you're using a little stamp, let me just clean this and give you this tip. So if you put one at the top and one at the bottom, and you always ink up in the bottom left-hand corner, then we can use the solid stamp, and you've got this other stamp to stop your block from wobbling, and it'll end up giving you a much nicer impression, because you can push down nice and hard, or nice and firmly, and get that lovely heart. And then we'll clean the stamp off. I can turn it around, and now I can use the 3 dots. The little stamps are so useful. They really are. And I really did fill up the whole stamp set with extra little stamps this time. So we've still got this, is going to come in here. I want my, let's put the dots and the heart. I do want to use my postage mark. So I'm going to use my special delivery. And I think I'm still going to do it just in the salvage patina because it's really going to pick that blue out. Now this says special delivery, so I'll have this so that I'm going to be able to see that. I can turn it around and have it going the other way as well. So it will work both ways. I think I'm going to have that just like there. Okay. So I'm quite happy with that. Let's clean that stamp off. And I'm really sorry, I'm missing all the comments. But I will go back and read them, I promise. Okay, so let's put my card off. Move this out of the way a minute. And I'm just going to pop, actually I've probably got a little bit of card over here. There we go. So I've got a piece of cardboard. Just going to trim it down a little bit, just so I've got it about the right size. And then I can take my bit of cardboard, add some glue, turn this over, pop the bit of card on the back, and then, whoops, right, sorry about that. Okay, let's pop this down. I don't even know if you've heard my phone ringing, but I do apologise. Let's just hope she doesn't ring back. Right, let's bring in my Stardust glitter glue, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glitter glue inside the leaves, and it just adds that lovely bit of sparkle, and it doesn't really need much else. Maybe we just have some in the wiggly lines. I'm really happy with that, but just by using a different stamp gives you a different look, but just a really lovely idea, and it's just so easy. I mean, look how different the colour is. So that's because I put more colour onto the blending brush and actually onto the stamp. So I want to just show you as well. I'm going to show you a couple of bits. Donna will be pleased. Not just one, well, I'm not going to make any more cards, Donna, but I'm going to show you a few more things, okay? I know that she'd have me here all evening otherwise. Right, so let's pop my thinking of you back in my pack. Okay, so back to the solids. I'll show you again using the rectangle. Actually, I think I'll just do it, have an A5 piece, and we'll do some different bits and pieces on here. So if I pop that down and pick that up, and we come back in with our pink. Now you can ink the stamp, but can you see what a difference you get? Because you're going to get lines, you're going to catch the edge of your MISTI or your stamping platform, which is fine. You could come in once you've done your ink pad and just soften everything with your, oh, let's just fade it out, shall we? Down to almost nothing. So that'd be like an ombre of ink. So we've got some solid, more dark ink up near the top, and we'll just fade it away. Okay, so we can stamp it down. And so that's, you're going to get a bit of a, not a solid impression. So if you want more of a solid impression, I would go at it with your blending tools. Let me just clean this off. And now I'm going to ink it up. Let's move it actually and pop it down. So now we'll do one where we put ink on it. And there's nothing wrong with these lines. These lines could add lovely texture to it as well. So don't be afraid to use it like that. I'm going to bring my finer spray bottle in, and I'm just going to spray with a little bit of water, and I'm going to spray that down and stamp that out. And now this is going to give me a very, oh, I've got big puddle look. That's going to give me a very different look. Okay, now you could probably, I don't know if you would get another one from that. I can't do it because I've got my bit of paper there. Okay, so let's bring it back in. Let's try a different shape now. Let's do a diamond. I love the diamond. Okay, so if I wanted to do a row of diamonds like I've done for my Argyle, you can either do, actually you can do it in the stamping press. So if we start in the middle, and we can, let's do, I'll do pink actually, I think. I do prefer the look I get with my blending tools. Okay, so I'll blend that one down first of all. Quite happy with that, looks lovely. Don't have to move my stamp. You could clean it if you wanted to. This is just so sticky, why? It's even pulling on my card. Okay, so if I move it over a little bit, and then before I stamp it down, just bring my press over and I can see roughly where it's going to go. It's overlapping ever so slightly, so that'll be fine. So we'll add, ink up my stamp again, then bring that in and stamp that down. And now we've got two. And then again, lift your card up, move my stamping press again. Oh, that was a good job. Almost perfect, like I've done it before. And then stamp that down. Now I like how this is just catching the previous diamond. So entirely up to you. So then you can come back the other way. Oh, no, I can't do that, can I? Because it's in here. No, I would probably clean it off, put it on my block and line it up. It was pretty easy, I have to say, to line up. I'm going to use the lines though on my block for my points, and then that way it's a bit easier when I'm lining it up. I should have put my paper in this way and then I could have fed it out the other way, because I can't feed it this way because of my lid, but I didn't think, because I don't. Okay, so I can hover and then pop that down. Perfect, more than happy. So if you do want to do it using your stamping press, put your diamond in the middle here and move your paper backwards and forwards that way, and then you'll be able to line it up perfectly in your press. It's just I couldn't move the paper this way because then I can't shut the lid. Okay, so that's lovely. And let's take a smaller diamond. Let's clean that one off. And then if I want to put a row in front, so again, I'm going to line up my points on my stamp. And let's bring in, I think Card Marigold will look fine with this. So let's ink up my stamp. And then all I did on my card was I added, so I came in between, and I can use this line across here to keep my stamp straight across the diamonds as well. Oh, look at that. Oh, beautiful. Actually, it would look lovely with salvage patina as well, wouldn't it? The pink and the blue would look lovely together. It would. Okay, so again, lining it up, keeping everything straight as possible. But I am doing this by eye, but it seems to be working okay. Now, I could put the postage around some of these if I wanted to, but I just think this is so... Imagine if you've got female friends who play golf. Oh, you could just make them such a pretty Argyle jumper, couldn't you? I mean, wouldn't that be fab as a golfing jumper? And then all I did was add little dots of liquid pearls to all the diamonds. So where's my... So I added little dots of liquid pearls to all the ends of the diamonds, and then just added that happy birthday. I'm tempted to do the ones outside as well, so let's just do that one. But you know what, you could even just stamp happy birthday straight over the top. You don't even really have to add the sentiment. You could do a black happy birthday, but isn't that lovely? Oh, I hope you think it is as lovely as well. Oh, you could, couldn't you? Definitely. And let me bring that up to show you. I mean, how lovely is that? Beautiful. I also wanted to share, so to do something like this, let's clean this off. Let me get, I'll do the square this time instead, so we've got a square. Just love those colours. Okay, so I will put it down on my piece of card, lift it up, and then we'll just add a little bit of ink. Now, I haven't put any more on here on my blending foam. I'm going to see if there's enough first. So let's just ink that out. Oh, I mean, look at that. So soft, it's so pretty. How lovely is that? Beautiful. Okay, so I should really have, okay, if I do it this way, so if we, that should be in the same place. Okay, should line up. So again, I haven't added any more ink to the blending foam. I have to the stamp. Oh yes, look at that. So you could do 3 in a row on a card. Might be a little bit more over, a little bit, tiny bit more. Okay, let's ink up. You could work all this out by actually counting the marks and what have you, so you get it really lined up perfectly, but I don't think that's too bad. Not too shabby. And then we could take, oh, you could, no, you're going to do, right, we can take, let's get this off. So I absolutely love just adding the flowers to it. So we could add, I'm actually going to go over the top of the square a little bit. and maybe not ink all the way down the stem. Let's see how that looks. Okay, missed a bit of my flower. I can put that right. Let's just wipe my bit of ink off of there. That's better. So we can have one here. Let's clean them off. And we'll put one up there and pick it up. And again, not ink all the way, so it's just down to where the stems join. Okay, and then let's take that off, pop that one back, and then in our postage we have thank you. So in this little one, oops, we can make a very simple card. Oops. Right, I'm going to do one word at a time because it's always better to. And then you can actually get them closer together as well. So if I pick up one, because I'm not, obviously you've got excess polymer around the edge of the stamp. So if you stamp one word first and take that off, and then place the U, you can actually get your U a bit closer than you would if you had the thanks still in place. So we'll just line up, ink our U. I mean, how lovely. So really simple. Let's just bring that up so you can see. Again, a little bit of glitter glue on those flowers, but just a panel on a card. How beautiful is that? And then, so I've shown you the argyle. I've shown you that. I loved this as well. So this is the circle one, and this is the one that fits over the top of the postage marks. But just to use this one on its own, I'll use it with my stamp. And I'm going to use picked raspberry. And what I did was I inked it up, made sure I got a nice coverage over my circle, which I have. I can stamp it down, and then I did a second print, so I huff on it like dragon's breath and stamp it again. So you get the same colour but a paler tone. Then we will go with ripe persimmon. So again, ink it up so you've got a nice coverage on your stamp, and then we can stamp it down, dragon's breath with a huff, and then stamp it again. And I've overlapped it ever so slightly. Want them sort of at different heights a little bit, so I'll try that with the mustard seed because they're very in line at the moment. So stamped up my mustard seed, and we'll have one down there, and then dragon's breath and a second one. And I just love how you get those two tones showing. And then what other colour? Well, then it goes to green. I think we'll stick with just those colours. I don't need to do all of them. And that's going to be, have I got a different, oh, how would that one, no, it's not going to be, it's got to be that same one, I'm afraid. Yeah, it's got to be this one. Okay, so I'm going to pop the heads down over the colour, ink up that stamp, and then I can add a bit of glitter glue like I did to the ends. Oh, let me bring it back up a little bit so you can see it a bit better. So then I clean it, onto the next one, pick it up, little bit of VersaFine, it is an old technique, Lynn, huffing on your stamps, you're absolutely right. And then we'll clean that one off and then line it up on my last one. But just again, just a really simple, and again you could have a happy birthday message on it. The card I made had a thinking of you on it. I'll bring that in a second and show you. But just so simple, but those, honestly, the solids, I just absolutely love the solids. How pretty is that and that? Very simple, but just looks absolutely beautiful. And it looks different again when you start adding that glitter glue. And again, it's got little dots of liquid pearls around it as well. So I also wanted to show you with the bigger circle that you can use the original. So we'll use the bigger circle and go for a few different colours. So this is dried marigold. Again, making sure I've got a nice coverage on my stamp. So we'll start at the bottom. Yeah, we'll start at the bottom with this one. So I sort of give it a little bit of a wiggle, just so you get a nice impression coming out. And then we'll have ripe persimmon. Do check, because it's got like, the ink pads have like dips in them. So you want to make sure that you get the whole of the ink pad, the whole of the stamp inked up nicely. So I can see I've got a big hole in the middle there now. Okay, that's fine. So we'll come over here. Again, I give it a sort of a bit of a twist, and it just gives me a lovely smooth circle. Let's pop those on. And then we'll have Kitsch, Flamingo. Again, just nice lot of taps. Make sure you've got a nice coverage on there. And we'll have that one, that there. I'm not moving the stamp at all when I give it a bit of a wiggle. I am just literally wiggling the rubber, okay? And then this is picked raspberry. And we'll stamp that. I don't want to get in the way of that one. We'll come down a little bit. Okay. So then, clean off my circle, and I can go back to the original postage stamp set and get the happy birthday postage mark and my black ink pad. Ink my stamp up, make sure I got it up the right way, and I need to stand up for this. And then I'm going to line it up. If I'm off, it's because the camera is right in front of my face. It's not very easy. Oh, it's not very easy to line up. So if I can do it with the camera in front of me. Then I'm sure you'll be able to. Thus it just lines up beautifully. Shouldn't say that till I've done them all, should I? And then I did finish my card off. So you can do them with, and that one's not quite perfect, but you know, you're making a handmade card, for goodness sake. So then we'll come back to our new set, And in number 2, Nature's Dream number 2, we have these beautiful like fireworks, and these are fabulous for infilling around this design with that little pattern in the same colours that you've used, and there's 3, so you can tuck one in the centre a little bit, and then picked raspberry, and we will have that one over there. And what a lovely card for a teenager, for a little boy. You could make them all pinks, you could do them all blues, so you could make them boys or girls. Just absolutely beautiful. And then this one, I'm not going to do this one, but I did the solid colour, and then I inked it up again, inked it off, and then did a second generation, inked it again, inked it off, and did a second generation. So you have the same colours, but just in those paler tones underneath, above and below, which I thought just looked lovely. And again, I did that all by eye, which you can tell because my spacing isn't brilliant, but it's not bad. I just rushed at the end with the red and wobbled. Typical. But I wanted to show like how lovely. Let's do that with a diamond actually. So we'll get the big diamond. Oh, I could do it that way. Okay. I've got to do it that way, haven't I? So they don't really want the diamond. I was going to take it off. All right, we'll do a square. We'll do another square. Okay, so I'm going to go with picked raspberry because it's a nice deep colour. And I'm going to stamp all over it, and I'm going to... Sure, I had a pink one. I always have a pink. Oh, got a big blue splodge on it. Not a good idea to take that to your ink pad, that big blue splodge, and it's out of my bag where my sponges have touched each other. Okay, so I want to get a really nice coverage on my square. Okay. And then I want quite a filled in. Would it be better with a leaf? Well, that flower might work actually. Let's try it with this flower. So I'm going to put the flower head, but I'm going to clean it first because I know I didn't clean it very well and it looks a bit black. So you do want to make sure it's clean. Okay, so we've just got a clean stamp. We've got a nice lot of ink on our pink, and I'm going to stamp the flower onto the square, and I'm going to lift it up, and it's going to take the ink off. So now you can see the impression of the flower on that square. It's going to be upside down now, but never mind. And then if we pop that down, you get... It's just like a jelly plate. It's so clever. But look, you get the impression of the flower coming out. How good is that? Beautiful. So that is just a few things that you can do with your solids, basically. I have concentrated more on the solids than anything else. I do just want to show a couple more cards. I want to show this one, and I just want to get another one of Joe's. Did I show already? Yes, I did. Right, so before I talk about this one, I really wanted to talk about this one because I just think this is so clever as well. So if you stamp the stamp out out of a piece of Morsket and cut the centre out, then you've got the hole. So you can stamp with your solid stamp, your greens, and then you can put the Morsket over the top and you've got like the aperture, and then you can stamp your stamp so you don't obviously stamp where you don't want it. But how lovely is that? And just a bit of gold glitter glue, and that is Joe Street's card. It's beautiful. I do try really hard to make what we've had before work with what we've got now. So like the letters, they fit on these. This is the diamond, but this is, I just think this is so clever. Joe Street again, and she's turned it into bunting. And I love how, I'm going to do this because I didn't get a very good effect. I'm going to do that again in a second. And then this one as well that Joe did, where she stamped the solids and created flowers. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I didn't use my heartbeat. I've meant to use my heartbeat tonight. Okay, so just very quickly, let's just bring in a little piece of card. We'll do it on our, actually if I put that down there, will that go on there? It will. So let's do it with our pink again. So I ink up with my ink pad. Now I've still got my flower design on there, so I do need to make sure that I've got a nice all over coverage. Okay, so then I'm going to spritz with my water. Now that looks like it's a bit better. And then when I stamp it out, just give it a little bit of a chance to soak into your card a little bit as well. Oh, that's better. Oh my goodness. I love it when it goes right. How lovely does that look? So if you had squares like that over your card, let's do another one. Let's clean this off. Oh, I do like having a play. There's just so much, and this is like very basic what I'm doing, very basic. But let's, whoops, try and line it up. And let's bring in dried marigold. So I want a nice coverage of it. Doesn't matter if it's not absolutely perfect, because I am going to spritz it. Might not be quite enough in this corner. Oh, that's going to be too much now. Never know when to stop. Okay, so I'm not going to leave it to dry for so long, but we could lift off the dark patch and lift that off. Too much water. But it's still, it does look lovely actually. So how nice is that? So let's have our card down. Let's line another one up. Let's have salvage patina. Wipe off any excess ink because we don't want that. 2 squirts at the most. Oh, I think that might be quite nice actually, just with the one. But do let it just sink into your card a little bit. Oh, yes, it looks beautiful. And then we want one more over here. And I think I'm going to go cracked pistachio. It didn't move, did it? It looks like it did a little bit. Right, lift that up. Let's go cracked pistachio. It's a really lovely soft green. And then give it a mist. Perfect. So maybe even one is enough. Just let that sink in a little bit. They will dry a little bit softer as well in colour. Beautiful. Let me bring this up. So it's so easy, whoops, to get that lovely mottled marbly effect. Isn't that beautiful? Perfect. So you can spritz them with water, you can stamp into them, you can ink just around the edges, you can add your flowers and your sentiments over the top. You can do circles in different colourways, first generation, second generation. You can fill the postage stamp happy birthday up with beautiful colours, and you've got this lovely sparkle stamp as well to go around the edge. You can just ink the stamp, you can ink it, and I added a lot of water. You can ink your diamonds up and create patterns with them, so you can do the argyle. You can also ink blend onto your solid stamps and then use them with your flowers and your postage stamps. I think I have just about covered. Where's my other? Was the blue bit underneath? No. I've lost my piece of card. Oh, there we go. And you can also fill the postage with stamps. This is from Blooming Gorgeous. These are from the new flowers. So I masked along the edge so that I didn't go over the edge. I went over the edge deliberately on this one. This one I've added the flowers and a little sentiment, and again use the liquid pearls around the edges. You can use the little rectangle to add colours to the tiles before you put your letters in them. Just, they are so versatile. And then this was the one that I was just blown away by this card. I love this card. You know, just sometimes when you make a card and it's just like, yeah, I like that. So this has got the rectangle, the solid in there, and then the letter tiles with happy birthday. And I've used the like sweet pea stamp, and I stamped it with VersaFine, but then put clear embossing powder on it and coloured those in with my clean colours. And then I just picked 3 of the flower designs and cut them and put them over the top. So that is standing proud. And then I've got the black skinny frame underneath, and I layered it onto black card as well. And I used the 3 little dots with some glitter glue as well. So another, it was only using the flowers around the edge, nothing in the middle, and the wording just fitted in there perfectly. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me flip the camera. I do like to say goodbye. Yeah, I do hope you've enjoyed that. I've had a lovely time playing around. Can't wait to see what you create when you get your parcels, and thank you to everybody who has already bought the Nature's Garden collection. The list of stockists, if you want to treat yourself, if you haven't already, is pinned to the top of my Julie Hickey Designs page. I will put all of these onto YouTube as well. I did the morning's launches on YouTube, and Brian's paper casting video is on YouTube as well. I'll be back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock when we'll look through the rest of the basket of all the beautiful design team inspiration. And then on Thursday over on Hazel's page, she'll be live, but she's getting creative for Nature's Garden, and she's made the most beautiful picture, which I hope she's going to share. I know she will share with you. So yeah, can't wait to see what you make, and please share them all in Crafty Friends of Julie Hickey Designs, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, take care, bye.